Once upon a time, there was a man named Guillermo Del Toro. He wanted to make a stop-motion movie based on a classic fairy tale, Pinocchio. Studios turned down his offer. They refused to finance it. Some say it should be 2D animated instead of stop-motion, but he said no. While Guillermo was busy with his other famous works and receiving tons of awards, he still wished he could greenlit his Pinocchio movie.
Mr. Del Toro, you have made so many wondrous creations and have pleased many people. With that, you deserve to have your wish come true. Fairy tale made of clay, become the movie your father praised.
Hello, Mr. Del Toro. It's Netflix. We would like to stream your fairy tale movie.
I have given you the opportunity. The rest is up to you and everyone you are working with. Good luck.
Yeah, I know that's not exactly how it went, but that history certainly felt like a fairy tale. When people look back on the year 2022, they seem to recall that was the year of the famous fairy tale story Pinocchio. For whatever reason, there were several adaptations of The Puppet Boy during that year. There was the direct-to-DVD movie with Pauly Shore, the live-action remake on Disney+, even a cameo in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. But then came the Netflix movie directed by Mark Gustafson and the legendary Guillermo Del Toro. This Pinocchio movie is like nothing you ever seen before. Back in 2008, Del Toro wanted to bring his version of the story to life, but just like The Puppet, it went through a crazy journey. Back then, studios were unable to greenlit the stop-motion adaptation. While it went through a development mess, Guillermo was still determined to make his film as real as possible. One decade later, Netflix came in and granted his wish to complete his Pinocchio movie, and when it was released, it received a critical acclaim with tons of awards, including a Golden Globe for Best Animated Feature. Welcome to another episode of The Wonder Reviews. It's time to see the show with no strings. This is the Netflix version of Pinocchio. It's the story of a man named Geppetto, played by David Bradley, who lost his son Carlo from a nuclear bomb during World War I. Devastated by the loss of his son, Geppetto decided to make a wooden puppet that looks just like him. But a blue sprite decided to make Geppetto happy by bringing the puppet Pinocchio to life and give him a cricket voiced by Ewan McGregor as a conscience. So Pinocchio has to learn to be a good boy and son to Geppetto and try to stay out of trouble. Now, whenever you hear of a Pinocchio story, you think the goal of the movie is that Pinocchio has to learn to be good so he can become a real boy. We've seen this routine before over and over again. However, that is not the case. Yes, there are some familiar plot elements in the story, like Pinocchio getting sold to the puppet master to become a star and when he gets swallowed by a whale. And yes, they still kind of focus on the real boy storyline. But they don't exactly do it in a way that's fully magical. In this adaptation, the goal is to just help Geppetto be happy while the puppet learns some manners and not tell lies. And the way they tell the story is by tackling some heavy themes of life, death, and war. The life and death aspect explains the concept of Pinocchio's ability to live since he's made of wood and doesn't have flesh and blood, but his papa or any of his friends will die someday because it's part of life and that's what makes them real. As for the war theme, it tackles the dangers of dictatorship and how battles lead to nothing but more losses. Even if they don't want to fight, some characters are being forced to do so based on these harsh political or battle beliefs from the antagonists. Which also focuses on another argument in the movie, obedience. It shows the trial and tribulation of being do as told, like when Pinocchio had to obey the villains or Geppetto. But it can show the upsides of disobedience as long as it's meant to help those they care about, like Pinocchio saving Geppetto's life from danger or other selfless acts. Now, when it comes to the father-son relationship, it does seem genuine. Geppetto wants Carlo back to life using the pine tree his son originally found, and Pinocchio just wants him to be happy and be on his best behavior, despite not acting like Carlo. And even though there have been some notable changes to the popular fairy tale, like replacing the donkey amusement park with a tyrannical military camp, it still captures the spirit of the puppet's journey and source material because it stays true to the film's morals and themes thanks to the writing. Does this mean there's nothing new to these familiar characters? Absolutely not. There is still something that makes all of them three-dimensional and memorable. You think you know very well about these fairy tale characters, but in Del Toro's version, They are given more layers than any version of the story you are familiar with. Pinocchio, for instance, is the mischievous boy that always gets himself into trouble but grows a fascination of the world around him, like hot chocolate, buildings, the afterlife, and more. What he really wants in life is to make Geppetto happy and be his son. Even though he was built to resemble Carlo, who the character was named after the original author, he learns that he doesn't have to act like Carlo to make his papa love him. Pinocchio just has to be Pinocchio. Geppetto also has his own goal. Ever since he lost his son, he gets drunk and gets upset, wishing to have him back, which turns out to be a be careful what you wish for scenario, since he has to learn to become a good father again and keep Pinocchio from getting into trouble. There is also Sebastian J. Cricket, Pinocchio's conscience, and the narrator of the movie, who is the comic relief who gets hurt whenever he tries to teach the puppet right from wrong in order to receive a wish and become a writer. Then you have the villains. Count Volpe is the over-the-top puppet master that wants the puppet to himself to make money out of him to make his carnival successful, aided by a monkey named Spazzatura. The latter has the ability to speak with puppets and eventually becomes an ally to Pinocchio after he stands up to him. There's Podesta, who is the movie's version of the Coachman, only this time, he's a dictator that wants to use little boys to fight in World War II, while his son Candlewick wants his dad to be proud of him. But the difference between them and Geppetto and Pinocchio's father and son relationship, Podesta values his own ideology of his country's image than his own son, obviously showing that he's not a good papa. If there's one character that's hands down my favorite in this version of Pinocchio, it's the Blue Fairy. Or in this case, two characters, the Wind Sprite and Dev herself. The Wind Sprite is the one responsible on bringing Pinocchio to life to help Geppetto, while Dev is the sister who runs the afterlife, as they both explain the importance of life and death, why they are equally important, and how Pinocchio's magic life as a living puppet can have its pros and cons. When making an animated Pinocchio movie, Guillermo wanted to be fully stop motion that's inspired by the illustration of Grizz Grimly. And one interesting thing about the movie is that they give credit to the animators who worked on the stop motion before the cast at the end credits, showing that Guillermo and all of us know that he couldn't have made his Pinocchio film without the help of these talented artists, and we are thankful for them for making this incredible original Netflix movie. Starting with the look of the characters, the designs capture the spirit of the illustrations by making the human characters down to earth with a few exceptions on Pinocchio and the animal characters. And they go into details on the textures like Pinocchio's wooden body, the hair on the human characters, and the feathers and eyes on the sprites. The same thing applies to the character animation, where the human characters move normally like we do, while the others like Sebastian and Spazzatura have a cartoony reaction, but they go all out with Pinocchio's movements, making him walk in a more abnormal way. Another thing that's admirable about the animation are the settings and backgrounds. With the town that Geppetto and Pinocchio live in, it captures the look of Italy during the World War II era, and the places the puppet goes to, like Count Volpe's puppet show or the train camp, can either present some entertaining moments whenever Pinocchio's on stage, or it can get dark and hazardous when he's on the brink of battle. And the afterlife gives you a good reason why this is a Guillermo Del Toro movie by using blue as a color scheme in the realm of Dev and use special effects on sand and lighting. The effects do continue on other elements like the water in the ocean or fire whenever a bomb goes off or when someone lights a fireplace. The movie also contains a variety of musical numbers. While not as groundbreaking as the songs from Disney like When You Wish Upon a Star, they have a more soothing tone in order to match the seriousness of the movie, but by themselves and as a Pinocchio musical, they are nice to listen to. There's My Son, which acts as a montage to Geppetto's relationship with Carlo. Everything Is New to Me presents Pinocchio's personality about how curious he is about the things he sees in his father's house. We Were a King Once is the villain song that shows how cartoony and evil Count Volpe is. And then you have songs like My Bubblegum, Fatherland March, Big Baby 2 Dolls March, and the emotional number in the film, Ciao Papa, features Pinocchio performing on stage. If I had to find one issue with the movie is that the songs are not fully organized as an actual musical. Like after Pinocchio leaves the puppet show, there are no songs until Sebastian finally sings his solo song, Better Tomorrows, which only happens during the end credits. Maybe if they add one or two more songs, I would consider it a complete Pinocchio musical. Now, I've heard stories about movies being in development in limbo, and they usually end up failing like the 2021 Tom and Jerry movie, Space Jam: A New Legacy, Food Fight, and a few others, but Pinocchio was definitely a passionate project that the director really wanted to bring to life, just like Geppetto's Wish. Prove that this adaptation is brave, truthful, and unselfish, and someday, that Pinocchio movie will become real and extravagant. Guillermo Del Toro's Pinocchio is the best adaptation of the fairy tale since the Walt Disney version in 1940. The plot stays true to the original source material, but has some powerful messages. The animation is spectacular with no strings to hold it down. The characters are given so much depth and likability, and the songs, while a bit incoherent, are fun to listen to. This is a must-watch for everyone, especially those who are more familiar with the classic fairy tale. And if you're a huge fan of Guillermo Del Toro's works like Shape of Water, Pan's Labyrinth, Nightmare Alley, and more, you will really like this. While there have been lots of other Pinocchio movie versions outside of Disney, this stop motion is nothing like any of them. It's that memorable and wonderful. I give this version of Pinocchio an A, and for acing his first class, Pinocchio gets the Diploma of Destiny for his incredible storytelling. I'm Mad Hair Patrick. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to dance with some cuckoo clocks and music boxes. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, check out these other videos, or feel free to like, comment, and subscribe for more upcoming reviews and other projects. I'll see you soon.